In this tutorial, we'll look at using custom ACES input and output transforms inside DaVinci Resolve. Since the release of DaVinci Resolve 17, we've now had the ability to add DCTLs as custom ACES input and output transforms. Now, if we have a look at the ACES transforms folder on your respective platform, you'll see that there's an IDT and an ODT folder. The IDT stands for Input Device Transform, which is where you can put your custom input transforms. In our case, we've got the protein transforms, which are open source on GitHub, as well as some of my commercial transforms, such as the HLG and Sony HLG IDTs. In the ODT folder, we've got some open source transforms where we have the Rec 709 Gamma 2.2 and 2.5 color space conversions, which don't perform any tone or gamut mapping, as well as custom output transforms that try to align the gammas a bit closer to what the actual middle gray values should be. Now, going back to DaVinci Resolve, if we go into our project settings and switch over to ACES CC or CCT as our color science, and we can see that we've got our ACES input transform and output transform options. Now, to use custom transforms for either input or output transforms, we need to scroll all the way to the bottom where our custom input transforms are located, and similarly, all the way to the bottom for output transforms where our custom output transforms are located. Now, for this particular project, what I'll do is go ahead and select Rec 709 Gamma 2.2, and we'll leave our input transform to no input transform, which effectively means that it's using ACES AP0 as the input color space and linear as the gamma. If we switch over to a linear gray chart, we can see that on the waveform output, our middle gray value is sitting very close to 46 IRE, which is what the middle gray should be for Gamma 2.2. Now, if we go into the individual clips and select some of them, we can see that the colors are off because we haven't selected our input transform. So we simply right-click and go into ACES Input Transform, and there's an option here called ACES Transform DCTL. And underneath that, we can see that we've got a bunch of custom input transforms. So for this one, I'll select the HLG BT2408 as our input transform. And we can see that our middle gray is again mapped very closely to that 46 IRE. Similarly with HLG2, again, we right-click on the clip, go to our ACES input transform, and select the ACES transform DCTL submenu. And under there, we then select the respective ACES input transform. In this case, since we shot this clip using Sony's HLG2 profile, I'll select HLG2. Similarly, we've got a ProTune native clip here, and I'll go ahead and select our ProTune native as our input transform. Now, you'll see that there's two here where we've got ACES and ACES V2. In this case, I'll select native ACES V2 as that's the newer transform which has the more accurate colors. Now, that's one way to use the ACES input and output transforms using the ACES color science. Now, there's another option where if you want to work in a non-color managed workflow using a node structure, we can go ahead and do that as well. So let's circle back to our HLG2 profile here, and we go in and select an ACES input transform. So in this case, I will go ahead and select Sony HLG2 as our input transform. And for the output, what I'll go ahead and do is select ACES CC. And we can see that our colors look a bit strange. And that's because we need another ACES transform to go from ACES CC out to a Rec 709 color space and transform. So I'll go ahead and select Rec 709 scene as our color space conversion. And any adjustments can now be made between these two nodes where the expected color space and gamma is ACES AP1 and ACES CC. So there you go, that was a basic overview of using custom ACES input and output transforms inside DaVinci Resolve.